Hey guys, it's JP, and in this video, I will be going over ways to strengthen the gluteus medius with minimal equipment. Due to gyms closing from current events, limited equipment may be available in your household. Therefore, I will be gearing this next series of exercise videos to address this current situation. This time, we will be going over the gluteus medius. This muscle tends to get overshadowed by the gluteus maximus. However, this muscle may contribute more to running. Based on some research that looked at muscle activity, you will notice that the glute med has a higher peak force compared to the glute max. Now, the question you may ask yourself is, what exactly does the gluteus medius do during running? I actually mentioned this before in a previous video, but let's briefly go over the role of this muscle here. This muscle most notably acts to control side-to-side motion of the hips. By improving stability around the area, this will optimize force generated through the legs as you run. Now that we briefly covered the role, let's go over some exercises that target the area that require minimal equipment and can be easily incorporated at home. The first exercise I will go over is the staggered side plank. Some people have difficulty starting with the side plank, so this is a great precursor to it. Now typically, people think of this exercise as a core exercise, but again, taking a look at some research, it actually has some pretty high gluteus medius activity. The problem about this exercise is that it is really easy to compensate and cheat the movement, therefore compromising the benefits that can be gained from it. So let's go over how to do this one. To initiate the movement, you would push down against the ground with the back foot. This should really get the gluteus medius going, which is the point. However, remember that the front foot is just for support. Try to only use it to balance yourself and don't push down from it. Now, let's go over some positional cues. Try to keep the elbow stacked under the shoulder. This should help minimize discomfort in the area. If it does bother you, you can try placing the elbow on a more elevated surface. By doing so, this takes pressure off the shoulder but challenges the hip musculature more. Another cue is to try to keep the hands on the hips. Try not to flail it around during the exercise. Also, try not to let the hips roll forward or backward. Keep it in line with the body. This will help bias the lateral hip musculature, specifically the glute med. Once you get into proper position, maintain alignment. Typically, I aim for someone to be able to perform this exercise 4 to 5 times at 30-second intervals. Once you master this, you can move on to the next exercise. The progression to the staggered side plank is the side plank itself. This variation challenges the hip without helping the top leg, which further challenges the gluteus medius. Again, the cues are similar to that of the previous exercise, so I'll just quickly go through them again. To initiate the movement, drive the bottom leg into the ground. Then, when getting into position, keep the elbow stacked under the shoulder. Keep the hand on the hips, do not let the hips roll forward, and maintain that alignment. Again, the goal is to try to maintain this for 30 seconds 4 to 5 times and try to keep it relatively wobble free. Once you master this, you can further progress this exercise. The last variation I will go over for this specific exercise is the side plank with leg raises. This is an advanced progression that really loads the glute med. Again, you will go into a side plank, but this time there will be a little bit of a twist. Once you are in position and are following the cues I mentioned previously for the side plank, you will perform straight leg raises. When doing this, make sure the toes are facing forward and don't let them roll back. This can be an extremely challenging position for many people. Similar to the last variations, the goal is to continue doing this for 30 seconds 4 to 5 times. Now, typically, I only go over 3 exercises in the video, but the last 3 I went over are just progressions of the side plank. This means that you will probably only be performing one of those variations depending on your mastery of the side plank. I typically try to have the athlete perform at least 2 to 3 exercises that bias the desired muscle. Therefore, I will go over 2 other exercises in this video that can be easily incorporated at home as part of your workout. The next exercise I will go over is the suitcase march. This not only involves loading of the glute med, but also coordination and balance of the muscles around the leg. You can carry any weighted object, like a bag filled with groceries, suitcase filled with items, or even a backpack filled with books. I'd recommend trying to incorporate enough weight where it feels challenging, but can complete the activity without compensations. I typically have the person perform this exercise 3 to 4 times at 1-minute intervals. As you do this one, engage the core and try to make sure to keep your shoulders and hips level and try not to lean too much to one side. Also, as you lift the leg, try to get into a tall position with your trunk fully upright and there is no bend in the knees. Then, as you land, try to keep it gentle and soft. This will require more coordination and control from the lumbopelvic region, specifically the muscles around the trunk, as well as the gluteus medius. One final cue to point out is to try to land flat-footed. This works on becoming more aware of foot placement and a drill to work on landing closer to the body, which may help the runner learn how to prevent themselves from overstriding, which could lead to decreased efficiency as you run. The last exercise that I will go over that targets this muscle is a single leg Romanian deadlift. I just went over this exercise in my last video for the glute max, but this is also a great exercise for the gluteus medius as well. Since I went over it recently, I'll just briefly go over the cues here. When doing this, try to keep the trunk straight and keep the shin perpendicular to the ground. Then, push back from the hips and lower yourself down to around mid-shin. Once in this position, try to keep the hips level and try not to lean too much toward the stance leg. Then, push the foot into the ground and rise up. Then you can repeat the exercise. And those are some exercises that target the gluteus medius that require minimal equipment, so you can incorporate them at home. I hope you found this useful in trying to stay in shape while the gyms are closed at this time. Also, I hope you guys continue to stay safe and healthy. Anyway, as always, thank you for watching.